Good afternoon, and welcome in to another Titan Talk. It's Wednesday, December 3rd. Kilgoon is joining me once again to go over, well, what to really go over today. It's kind of a Q&A session for the most part with chat, based on the RTO update that came out yesterday.
Yeah. Day after patch day, we usually have a slightly lighter show planned. You know, we haven't had a chance to take a lot of questions in a while. Just want to see how things are going, how people are feeling about the new update, and kind of update on some of the things that we've already fixed.
Yep, and speaking of fixes, real quick recap for y'all on what's going on with terms of hot fixes and stuff that went out. I believe all this went out yesterday, but just to confirm, assault-based teleporters only take you to the tier 2 tower now. We fixed an issue with an instance crash when loading into matches. Didn't happen to everybody, but it did happen to a couple of people. We also released a fix as well for RTO and able to cancel her third ability, which a lot of people noticed. And also Danza Ultimate. We've increased the volume of this ability a little bit during the Ultimate, just to prevent it during the jungle of occlusion, being kind of hidden behind the walls and stuff a little bit, so you can hear it a little bit
really
better.
Hear him when he's coming, when he's on his rocket.
Additionally, we've got sometimes seeing a banned god when first loading into a pick match for lobby. That should go away now. And also during simultaneous bans, if the opposing team's banned a god, it'll look like the god is not available for ban. I believe that has been fixed as well. And then what else have we got? Recommended filter is shown twice in the item store. And Boo Buddy and normal and Sentry Ward base models have swapped. I don't know what that one means, but...
Oh, so you know how, like, at the bottom of a ward, there's a different model.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was showing
Using the wrong one.
the model for a base ward when it was Sentry and Sentry Ward when it was base. So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
But that's all the hotfix notes I have so far. I don't believe we've got anything else in flight at the moment, which is I'm not trying to jinx us, but it's kind of low-key strange that we don't have too much from what I can tell. There's a couple of bugs still floating around. Obviously, we've always going to have some sort of bugs, but nothing too crazy for a
relatively quiet patch, I would say.
A little too quiet. That's what I don't like. It's too quiet.
Yeah. No RTO fixes. Yeah, we fixed the 3 not being cancelable.
Yep. There's a couple of others that are being worked on as well.
Yeah, there are a few other RTO things that we're looking into. There were a few feedback threads about a couple of abilities, maybe having the timing, a fraction of a second off or something.
Just seems
so. We're definitely looking at those things, seeing what else needs to happen. And her aspect will be going live on Friday, so you'll have that to look forward to.
Is the plan? Yes. And I will say, like, from what we've seen of very early data, as always, like, RTO seems okay.
Yep.
She's not over the top. Everyone's been... I did see a Reddit thread the other day actually going, hey, it was nice seeing RTO release, and she wasn't like OP, because it just feels like we've been doing OP lately. But I think that comes and goes. There's definitely gods that do come across... That's a good point. I mean, listen, it's never what it was in the play tests. Yeah. Thank goodness.
Well, I think it's also like, even with as much testing as we do internally and on PTS, it's very hard to know exactly how something will come out in terms of balance.
For sure.
We have to rely a lot on our opinions and how we perceive things going, because there isn't a large wealth of data to pick from. And sometimes people will find a specific play style or build that we haven't thought about that kind of makes a god really, really good, right?
An item comes through, or just a specific couple of items together can cause it.
Yeah. So, I think our goal is not to ship super overpowered gods. I think it is generally better for new gods to come out like strong versus weak.
Agreed.
If you have to pick. But I don't think you want like super overpowered. That's not our goal.
The worst experiences I remember from time was when gods came out underwhelming to begin with, or people thought they were underwhelming to begin with, but it takes a bit of time for people to get used to the characters. This is kind of different with SMITE 2 though, because we've had the character before. However, you release it undertuned, then you generally end up buffing it and it's overtuned. Yeah. And then people are like, why did you do that? You overdid it.
It takes a while before people realize that it's now good, right? I remember like Kabrakan was really bad on initial release, and it took a long time before people started to regard him as a decent character. So generally speaking, we find it better to release gods, strong. Like if you have to pick between strong or weak, it's better to be a little bit strong. But there have been a few things that have been more overpowered than we would have liked.
Or overtuned, yep. what questions do we have in chat then today? Because we don't have too much prepared at the moment today. I believe I could mention this real quick. Is this the right screen? Hey, just a reminder, there is still a Christmas Yulefest competition going on as part of the game too. Make sure you check out the art competition on SMITE Prime. You can maybe win yourself some diamonds and review some of the results.
Yeah.
That closes in a couple of weeks. I believe it's next Friday. Is that what it says on there?
The 12th.
I can't see the screen. There you go. So I believe that's next Friday. But make sure you tune in and check that out. We'll be showcasing the winners on the probably final Titan Talk-ish of the year.
Will we have Ben on, I assume?
I need to double check with him, but it should be.
That'd be cool.
Yes. Not got to that bit just yet.
Is another roadmap coming before end of the year? As of right now, I think we'll probably do more of a roadmap at the beginning of next year.
Okay, that makes sense.
Just because we're trying to get a decent amount of stuff into this update, so there are things to look forward to over the break. Our goal is to ship maybe a couple extra aspects, some other things, so that there's a lot to do. And while we're thinking about and planning for the future, and we have a lot of stuff that we're working on, I think it's harder for me to say exactly what's happening because a lot of our dev focus is going towards getting things done for this patch right now.
Yeah.
So I think like a firmer roadmap, we'll probably wait for until the new year. If I had to bet right now, maybe it'll get to be next week and I'll feel differently about how things are going.
Sure.
But yeah, I would expect we'll probably do the roadmap in the new year.
Cool. So expectations for the fans, obviously, should be coming out just before the Christmas period, and then we'll be down for the Christmas
2 weeks
period.
From yesterday.
And we'll come back, hopefully, with like a bit of a roadmap.
Yeah, that's kind of the goal. So
2 weeks from yesterday, yeah.
Newt's good. Newt's been fun. And
she's getting there.
Yeah.
Again, that's one of the characters I've not played too much of and like playing around with a little bit. She's definitely interesting. Something to get used to for sure.
Yeah. Why? I'm not sure I fully understand this question, but why was it chosen to focus on proc items in Smite 2 to do damage, especially in carry, rather than focusing on int and strength scaling and base damage? So I think there's several different builds that you can go for. Like that should be our intent, is that there's either there's like a crit build, there's like an on-hit build, there's an on-ability hit build, there's a just kind of raw stats. There's usually some extra layer on top of it.
Sure.
But there should be multiple different angles that you can take your builds in.
Yeah.
What we find is that like if it's just build stats, that's not generally as interesting. People usually want more of like a signpost of what sort of build they're going for. But yeah, we try to have a lot of we try to have multiple options for how you can build gods.
Sure. I'd argue as well, like just having int, strength, scaling, and base damage on items doesn't make them very appealing to buy, and a lot of people complain that they've got no additional effects. It doesn't necessarily have to be a proc item specifically, but on-hit effects means you are landing abilities or doing something, not just getting free stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Or like, I mean, we were talking about this before the show. I'm so tired today. My brain is.
It's all good. It's all good. I'm feeling it too.
Dagger of Frenzy. You push the button and you attack faster.
Yeah.
Right. Like
you get a buff. Yeah.
Yeah, you get a buff. Right. That's not like really a proc item or an on. It's like it's like more of the attack speed thing, and it works into kind of different builds.
Forcing you to like when you push this button, it's go.
Yeah.
Right.
Go button.
However, you can play around the go button. You can play against the go button. There's a steroid. Yeah. To an extent.
Anniversary event. I see people talking about anniversary. Don't have any major plans for an anniversary event right now. I think it's also like, when do we refer to the Smite 2 anniversary is still, I think, a little bit up to debate.
Sure.
Because we went open beta a year ago in January.
Right.
I think it was the 12th. No, maybe it was a little bit before that. Maybe the 10th. I'm trying to think. But, early January last year was when we went open beta. We started playtesting, I want to say, in like March of last year.
The dates are completely off of me.
Yeah.
What would you class beta as, like being an anniversary date to remember? Or
yeah, it's like we actually ended up celebrating Smite anniversary, I believe, around launch tournament, right?
Yeah,
Not around when beta started.
Yeah.
So what's the date that we would actually celebrate as like an anniversary? Hard to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is worth noting that we 24/7 alpha was August 27th, but then some people are like, no, but it's when you guys did the free to play open beta that really counts. It's like, I think there's a lot of dates out there that are all very important in the flow so far, but is there one that we really want to celebrate as like the anniversary right now? I don't personally think so. Maybe other people disagree.
Was the Kukulkan aspect that was leaked the final version? No, I don't believe it was. Obviously, if it was a final version, we'd actually just be on the show telling you about it for the most part. So if you've not seen it on the show and us going, this is what's going on, then it's probably not a final version of that has come through.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we test internally that either never really sees the light of day because we just don't think it's fun enough, or sometimes it'll like get on to PTS in like an unfinished state, and there's a lot of things that we know we want to change about it still. So I would say that whatever leaked out there was definitely not the finished product if it was,
a bit late, but has there been any feedback about turning on CC buffering? A bit late, maybe a bit early. We did turn on CC buffering, I believe, as part of this. So far, I'm definitely interested in opinions from chat as well. And obviously, we'll continue to gather information because it's only been a day. I see one person in chat saying Mulan's kind of tough to play or difficult to play because of the CC buffering stuff. But we've not got a ton of feedback on that just yet. It is going to be more play games, and give us the feedback.
It's early.
Continue to generate very, very early.
Yeah, it's
similar with RTO, like how balanced she is. But
yeah, we barely have 24 hours, or I mean, I guess it's 24 hours of data of.
I'll say it initially, if it was completely bad, everywhere would have exploded with drama around it socially, is my expectation usually of like, this is just terrible, but we've not seen too much of that just yet. That doesn't necessarily mean it's perfect. It doesn't necessarily mean it's staying or it's going. Just early days.
Yep. It's we just want to see how things go. Well, maybe we'll end up doing a survey too to try and get more subjective feedback on how people feel about it. I think that we in the ambassadors Discord, we've had kind of some people that are like, yeah, it's better without it. We've had some people that are like, oh, I kind of miss it. You know, it's one of those things where it's probably not going to be a clear decision either way, like most things in the world, unfortunately. But we'll see what the data says. If the data says strongly one way or the other, then that'll probably be the way we go. If not, we'll just try and go with whatever the community wants the most.
Person spouting about Baldur. No news on Baldur. No updates on Baldur. There's nothing to do with Baldur. Move on with that question. Thank you.
Yeah. We, there's a lot of
just
stuff
spamming it on Google is like, geez, okay, I'm not trying to ignore it. It's just a pointless question when we've not said.
We haven't announced any new potential, upcoming gods yet. We're focused on bringing over classic gods at as fast a rate as we can right now because that's what the community is kind of been asking for. I think we've been able to keep moving at a strong pace. We're going to keep moving at a strong pace. We had RTO come out yesterday, literally, and we have Newt coming out, in 2 weeks, and we're going to keep going. I also love how confidently people quote data mining to us.
All the time.
It's just like, dude, we just test a lot of stuff, and sometimes we throw something in, and we're like, no, we do something completely different.
It's kind of, for some reason, it's like a gacha game. Yeah. Not a gacha game, but like, we got him, we know what's going on. I'm like, listen, you might be right, you might be wrong. We're not going to confirm. If we confirm on this show, you'll know.
You remember how like upset people, I don't know were you doing the show at this point in time when we did the roadmap where people were like 100% convinced that Ratatoskr was going to be the next assassin god?
I knew that was coming down the pipe because people had seen early.
They saw some early data mining.
Yeah. And we even showcased the Susanna picture, which is an example of the skinned version of him.
Yeah, but like we didn't, like Ratatoskr was not like actually something that we had done very much work on at all other than like importing the model, right? And data mining was like, well, it's definitely happening and it's, 80% complete or whatever. It's like we barely touched it in weeks. I don't know what makes you think that we've done something to it. So it's very
definitely a balance point though, because like I know the fans at home, like they're excited about the new stuff. They want to hear about it. They want to know when the next card's coming.
I think it's fun, but I think it's
there's a frustration level from outside.
You just can't look at it as like this is the gospel truth of definitely something that's happening because it gets data mined, right? Because we just try things and we don't focus on making stuff not data mined. We focus more on let's just try things, let's see what happens, and then sometimes something gets data mined and people are convinced that this is I see the one of the data mine things that people keep bringing up because it got data mined forever ago was like there's there were some slightly different like recolored versions of the Gold Fury model that got data mined, and they were like, I do remember that. They're deep into development on an elemental Gold Fury pass, and it's like, guys, we test stuff like. We'll tell you about it when we think it's far enough along to talk about.
Is there an SPL next year? Probably not. I'll be real. At least for the first half of the year, definitely not. Won't be the case. We're not even out of beta yet. So I don't expect us to see a Pro League.
Will the next PTS have the God Afternoot as well? I would say we're not quite at a point where I can say whether it will or won't. If it will, we'll mention who it'll be beforehand, obviously, and let you know.
Sometimes it just is day of. I'm not gonna lie. I've kind of seen it where we may have made a mistake and let it on, and we weren't supposed to, or we've just let it flag so we wanted the extra testing. But we're not gonna know really until right beforehand, if anything.
Yep. Is Kilgoon Jr. playing Smite yet? No, my kids are very little. They are not of the age to where they could be playing.
I don't know. Your eldest is probably about as good as some of the people I've seen in games. So
she is almost 3. So
that's what I said about it. Almost as good.
Technically, as a T for T rated game, you must be 13 to play Smite 2.
I just wonder if people actually clicked that button. When you were 12 and you clicked the button that said, "Are you 13?" I'm sure you did. Is the data showing games being extra stompy lately? That's been my experience the last few games. I don't have that data to hand right now. I've not heard any rumblings of craziness, though. I don't know if you have, Kilgoon. No,
I would say we have been running some matchmaking experiments behind the scenes. And depending on what mode you are playing and what ELO range you're in, some of your matches may have been less good. For the majority of players, the stuff that we have been testing has been just an improvement. But we are continuing to test some things, and we will hopefully make it better for everybody here as we continue to work through this. But yeah, we've been basically every day over the past week has been a new, for at least one mode, there's been some new matchmaking thing going on in the background that we're trying to kind of find the sweet spot between fast matches, quality matches, and I guess that's really it. Fast matches and quality matches, right? And I would say that there's also been some kind of existential discussion about what makes a quality match and if our quality match metric is correct. And also there's been some interesting data that we found. I don't know if 100% this is correct. But we had some early data that we were looking at yesterday that suggested that actually the matches that are like statistically the most balanced teams that are closest in
skill level
is the worst for player retention. Which again, this was very early data. I shouldn't be talking about it because it's like this was just this is an interesting nugget to dive into.
Being real, I think people play more games when you win a lot. As a standard, that would be my suggestion. Nobody likes to lose.
Yeah, but I was
feel like a loser.
I was talking with one other person here about it who isn't much of a Smite gamer, but he plays a lot of another game. Yeah, that's not a MOBA, but just he's really big into this other multiplayer game. And he's like, yeah, whenever I have like a really intense sweaty match, I'm like, oh, I gotta like take a break afterwards, right? And like, I wonder if maybe there is something to that like you need to have a good blend of matches, right? Where it's like you need some that are like super competitive, sweaty. You need some that are a little bit more swingy one way or another. It's interesting that again, it was early data. Like I don't know how much I truly trust it yet, but it was just an interesting data point that came up.
I gotta shut it because I did have a question on here, but now I've lost it.
Do we track game metrics when a player stops a session or takes a long break from a game? Yeah, we track metrics on all sorts of things. This player retention, this specific thing was looking primarily at people that had done things in their early player journey that made it look like they were a player who would keep playing for a long term, but then they stopped. And we're trying to figure out like what causes these players to stop playing when they've already passed a number of like thresholds that we would expect them to keep playing at a higher rate. So we have a lot of metrics that we look at internally.
First time in one of these streams, any plans for match of the day? Those were so fun. I don't think we've ever said we're never going to do match of the day in the future. I do think it's something we would definitely look towards in the future, but at the moment that's not the case. Kilgoon, I'm guessing that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, I mean, I think that
Thanks for checking us out, though.
Everything takes time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's a question of how can the time be best spent. And right now, I think we're still focusing on like how do we address some of the issues with Conquest. Right. I think Conquest continues to be our main focus because it's the most popular mode.
Yeah.
And once we get a little bit further on Conquest, maybe we think about match of the day. Maybe we think about some of those other things.
Not off the table is kind of what we're saying. I think that's the hardest thing for the community to adjust to, really. If you've been in Smite 1 before and you're in Smite 2, and I feel like we keep saying it, but we just have to. It really is just going to take us time to continue to push and develop. Most of the ideas people suggest in chat are things that we probably do want to do.
Yep.
It's just when we can get around to doing them. Can confirm getting stomped by deity players in Arena is not fun. But there's no deity players in Arena. Just saying, that's a ranked thing that's different. But I understand the point there. I'm not just being stupid.
And I will say
before
that,
chat gets upset.
Arena is a mode where we've been running a lot of matchmaking experiments over the past week. So if you're primarily an Arena player, you've probably seen more of the fluctuation of maybe you had a good day, maybe you had a bad day in terms of what the matchmaker was doing for you, because we're looking at a lot of different things about how we are tracking things in that mode in particular, and then kind of rolling things out to other modes from there. Can we add more comeback mechanics in Conquest? I think there's this is a fine, it's a difficult thing to balance, right?
Do we feel we need more comeback mechanics?
Well, because previously chat was like, there's too much comeback mechanics. I get shut down, and there's no point to trying to get an early lead because I'm just going to lose. And so I think that it's like where we want the game to be.
Yep.
Is to feel like I can get a lead. I can take advantage of my lead, and I can pressure my lead. If I am behind, I need to feel like there's a chance for me to come back.
Yeah.
It shouldn't always be easy to come back, but I need to believe that I have a chance to come back. I'll say, this is my content creator plug of the day. I've been watching a decent amount of Snatty's YouTube content recently. I love most content creators, if they post a video to YouTube, it is, I am stomping this entire game. I'm amazing. Look at me. I'm great.
Sure.
Right? He posts a lot of videos where he's getting beat up on early game. He's like, but he manages to keep his head cool, think very logically about I just need to kind of stay in the game right here and not fall too far behind. And then, he rotates and gets a couple kills. He's like, okay, we're right back in it. He manages to
positive mental outlook.
I love it. It's just I feel like if every player was able to have Snatty's relatively even keeled, let's objectively look at this game and not be overly swung by I died a couple times early, or this other lane's losing, or I think that people would win a lot more of their games if they were able to have that kind of mentality.
Yeah.
But no, it's really good stuff. I appreciate a lot of our content creators. This isn't just me
sure.
He's the best, but I was enjoying a lot of his content recently.
Study I've noticed a lot more as well, mainly from my context. It's just more on the side of there's education in there that he's doing. And this isn't to shoot at the other streamers, because a lot of the streamers have been around a long time. And I think the hard part is when you're streaming for a long time and you repeat yourself and you repeat yourself, and it's kind of like the show, but you repeat yourself. Or as a caster, you repeat yourself about the same things in every single game. It does get a little bit old and tedious, and you don't realize that it's more appealing to people when there's more stuff going on. So Snatty's approach of talking about what's going on is very interesting for sure, and is nice and upbeat. The positive mental attitude thing is always going to be something that's in a game though, of if you're in a bad mood already, probably don't talk, probably don't communicate, but you're also well, this is already over. You know, you can sometimes go into games feeling that way. Yeah, I did mention, obviously, like I said, does chat think there's any need for comeback mechanics? And I think the one thing that happens is everyone's got an opinion. Everybody has an opinion of what is needed in the game. We need leaderboards. We need this artwork in. We need new items. We need a new map. We need comeback mechanics. Everyone's going to have an opinion, and they're not necessarily wrong, but they are an opinion, and it's based off what the majority want most of the time.
Yeah.
Not always we can make that happen, but it is the case.
Yeah. I think that like there's always an interesting line to walk between what the community, people vocally in the community think we want versus things that we're like, man, I feel like if we did this that they aren't talking about, it might actually be a big improvement to the game, right? Like one of the things we were just talking about this morning, again, this kind of from the same data set that we were looking at with the people leaving, was games with people that are in a lot of games with leavers.
Yeah.
Obviously has a negative impact on how long they choose to play the game.
For sure.
And so we were talking about like, man, maybe there's some things that we should be doing just UI wise to like discourage leaving, right? So example, some other games do, right?
Electrocute them.
That, you solved it. We got it.
I'm not gonna lie, I've always wanted an actual game that would like wire you up in a suit where you'd feel some vibrations. I mean, that would be good. But yeah.
Like examples, right? Some other games, they disable Alt F4, so you can't just you can't just quit the game, right? When you go to the quick game,
are you sure? Are you sure?
Yeah, it'll say like, "Are you sure?" And there'll be like a 5-second countdown before you can actually click on the thing. Yeah. Like I think that there are maybe a lot, like there are definitely a lot of little things like that actually could have a really big impact. In addition to these things like, we need leaderboards, right? But then it's like, well, how do you prioritize leaderboards versus a system that could maybe keep people from surrendering?
Yeah,
right?
Because they're the same sort of teams that are designing those things.
Yeah.
As well as one thing to mention. Because someone in chat just said, who is the SMITE community would be mad about leaderboards? We're not saying the community can be mad about leaderboards. No. It's about the prioritization of those leaderboards versus stuff that's going to keep people wanting to play more and increase the player base, have more people playing, which means your matchmaking gets better because there's more people playing the game. But your matchmaking probably will get worse because you could play against newer players and be like, man, I'm getting stomp games. But then you're winning, so you're happy. It all has knock-on effects with everything. But yeah, we're not trying to say that some of the things people are suggesting are incorrect whatsoever.
Yep. I need more of my teammates to surrender. See, you got to have the mental, man. You got to keep fighting. Is there any chance for us to offer some of the official SMITE 2 merch from the beginning of the year again? I'd love to buy some of it. Unfortunately not. We are no longer partners with the people that were doing the merch for us back then. But we did recently release our, not that recently anymore, our community merch license.
Yeah.
So if you want to make merch,
you can.
You just have to send us an email. There's a URL or something where you fill out a quick form saying, if I make more than X $1,000, I'll share revenue with Hi-Rez, and I agree to not like besmirch the name of SMITE by, making gross things.
Correct.
Then you can kind of make whatever you want. Or, if you're an artist in the community that wants to sell things, if you want to make candles, we have some.
I was literally putting this up because,
right
funny
here.
enough, Luna is making more candles, and she did message me today, but I've not had properly chance to go through it. However, if I just pop that, this isn't the greatest thing, but celestialwix.shop. I believe, I'm just going to check my messages. Apologies for this, doing this live. Oh, no. There's going to be a holiday sale, 26th of November to December 3rd. Have I missed that? Oh, no. The sale ended. But there is more coming at celestialwix.shop. And you can see there is maybe some new products on here. Am I crazy? There is new products. I just don't know which ones they are. Okay, that's new.
There's Fenrir Hot Cocoa. There's Geb Yellow Snow.
Where was Geb Yellow Snow?
On the
left, right?
By my picture.
Oh, here.
Yeah, right there.
Geb Yellow Snow. Great. There
Vibrant citrus with a hint of sweet vanilla cream.
However, you can head over there to have a look at that. But we also do have a merch license for people that do want to make merchandise, and we can get you in touch with that. I will get the details to give us that because I don't know off the top of my head. I apologize.
You know what chat's first reaction to this is?
What?
Where's the Fafnir candle? Anyway.
The Fafnir. No take candle. Block surrender on assault and arena, please. Yeah, that's fair, I guess. I guess if some of the gamers, to be honest, you can get in sweaty assault games that can last 30, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can get into those games and I can feel at 15 minutes, I'm like, this is going to be an hour game. Yeah, I get the point of having the option, but I also see the frustration with people.
Can we give a simple explanation of what CC buffering is? Sure. So there was a change that was made to SMITE 2 where basically if you're if you push the button to start casting an ability, which is not a movement ability or a channeled ability, like let's say Anubis Breath, right? But if you just do, I don't know, what's a non-channeled ability? A
non-channeled? Ymir Freeze. It's not really channeled.
Sure, Ymir Freeze, right? Yep. For every ability that isn't channeled, there's kind of a beginning warm-up animation before that ability happens, right? So for the Ymir Freeze, he goes, right?
Yeah.
And during that fraction of a second where you're going, if you were CC'd, you would continue to finish your animation and do the effect. That was called CC buffering. The CC would not interrupt your ability if it hit during the warm-up of the ability happening. Without CC buffering, if you are hit during an ability warm-up, the ability is just interrupted. Mm-hmm. It doesn't go on cooldown. You can try and do it again once the CC fades, but the ability is just interrupted and does not have the effect.
Yeah.
So that was what we changed. Why do we implement CC buffering? We implemented CC buffering because we have gotten a lot of feedback, even from some like serious long-term SMITE players, that one of the most annoying things is trying to use an ability over and over and over again and just getting interrupted, right? Some gods have really long pre-fires on their abilities, really long warm-ups. Like Danzaburo actually has, like on his drink from his sake bottle that he throws, really long warm-up on that ability. There's a bunch of abilities in the game that just have like a lot of
wind-up. Yeah.
They have a wind-up to them, right? And sometimes it was like, man, I just can never use this ability because I get interrupted every time I try and do it. So the thought was that putting in CC buffering would make playing the game feel more fluid and less like I'm just constantly getting interrupted. And it could also potentially work a little bit with the fact that we only have one relic, right? So potentially there's some things there. It might also help with latency in some weird cases, but we found it actually didn't really do much to latency.
Getting interrupted is and should be part of the game. And I don't think we necessarily disagree with that. I think the problem is that there's windows where you on your end will fire an ability and go, I fired that, but then it will not happen. Mm-hmm. And you'll get frustrated about that because you'll hear it too. That's kind of the thought behind CC buffering and whether it should or shouldn't be there.
Yep. What do I think about the overall large scope state of the game right now? I think the last two patches felt pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I think overall, I think the game is in a pretty decent place, right? I mean, I think that whenever I play, I have fun, and I think that that's a good sign. I mean, obviously, you have games that are frustrating. It's a MOBA, right? Like, it's going to happen, right? But it's more often than not when I sit down and play a game now, I'm like, I don't leave the game thinking about like, oh, here's 30 things I need to fix. Sometimes there's like one thing that I think, I need to fix this, right? And it's less frequently like the core flow of the game. I think that we're in a pretty decent spot. So I think there's a lot of room to continue to improve. Don't get me wrong. But I think that we've made a lot of progress.
I mean, I've not got the exact numbers in my head, but I know like through this year, we continue to push in the right directions, in my opinion, of God releases, which is what the biggest thing majority of players wanted. And we're over 50% of the way there easily at this point.
Yeah, we are over
50%
of the way there. Yep. There are a lot of gods in SMITE 1 though.
There is, and that took 10 years plus for all those characters to come out too, where there was one a month and we've been powering through. And I believe we'll continue to do so. So.
Mm-hmm. Do we plan on adding public profiles like in SMITE 1 to show off achievements or accolades? I think we would like to have more social features, kind of like that. I think the public profiles in SMITE 1 were interesting because I don't think that many people tended to actually browse other people's profiles in-game. But I think that things that are good social features and get people to feel like they're more a part of the community are definitely things that we like.
Yeah. Do you think all of SMITE 1 roster should be ported over to say the beta is complete? That's an interesting question.
I would say probably not.
I was going to say I don't hold the reins, but that'd be crazy to be like, okay, they're all in. You can now play. Like, I think that's maybe too far along. But.
I mean, I think that like there's a lot to the game beyond just the list of gods, right?
Yeah.
I think there's things that we would definitely want to do before we say that it's not a beta, but I think that like we're probably not going to wait until every single Smite 1 god is in the game before we say before we drop the beta tag. When is Nuke getting shown? Yeah, so Wednesday of next week, I believe, will be patch notes if we follow our normal cadence. So a week from today.
Yeah, I'm confused because of the Thanksgiving break as well. It's been kind of a weird flow.
It's been a weird flow.
But yeah, that next week will be the case. Probably next Wednesday, so a week today, we'll showcase Newt, and then Friday we'll probably be over the patch notes.
Mm-hmm. Have we tested having basically multiple MMRs that are used in combination so that you have both a global MMR and a queue MMR so that players aren't playing ranked monsters in arena? I would say there's a lot of different things that we've been testing that, include that and other things. The thing is that like you are trying to find the optimal window of I don't have to wait 8 years for a match. A lot of people, if they have to wait longer than like a minute for a match, are like, this game is dead, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of,
sure.
Perspective in a lot of games. And at the same time, you're trying to make the best matches that you can possibly make. So it's always trying to find the best balance that you can between speed and quality. But yeah, we've been testing a lot of different levers, not like people leaving the game, but like levers, things that you, to see what will lead to the best best solution for our game. What would I like for Christmas? Do you have anything on your Christmas list?
Nope.
Okay.
Cool. Nope. All I can think of is joking things with Twitch chat or like just these shows in general, or the community show. So no, I'm not going to say anything stupid because it's not worth it.
Okay.
That's kind of what I'm about. But there's something on my list. Was there something on my list? Maybe considering the new Valve in the new year, that's about it, but nothing else.
Yeah.
A wireless headset is also one thing, because I've always been wired, boys,
Yeah.
but wireless headset microphone is kind of the goal.
Pawn's been walking around with a wireless one today. I don't know if it's new or if he's just...
I definitely want it for home, but not. For in the office could be kind of good at times. What about yourself?
The only two things that I have thought of that I want this year are... I play a miniature game called Guild Ball.
You mentioned that, yeah.
And they just came out with a new minor guild, the Lumberjacks Guild. So I asked for the Lumberjacks Guild. And there's this guy who makes like jerseys. He like designs jerseys on the internet.
Oh, you show me,
yeah. He did like an ATL jersey that's like MARTA themed, which is like our public transit system here. And I was like, that's a cool jersey. I would like to have a ATL MARTA jersey. But yeah, nothing too exciting. And then it's kind of Christmas tomorrow because Metroid Prime 4 drops. So I
was going to mention that to you as well.
Excited.
Yeah, Metroid Prime.
The Guild Ball makers are friends of yours. Tell them that I have immense respect for their work, and I think it is an incredible game.
By friends, do you just play the game, or is it you actually know them? It's like, they're friends of mine, I play it too. People still want this fireplace Christmas show of you. The whole time. I am down for you to sit in a room
have a fireplace at the office.
8 hours. I could project one.
You can project? Okay.
I'll do it just for you. We can put it in the background, but you can sit there for 8 hours. Sounds like a very productive day.
Guild Ball crossover. See, I think that would only appeal to me and 10 other people on the planet, unfortunately, but it would be fun. That's cool. It's cool that you know them personally. They do good stuff. They recently, Steamforged Games is the name of the company.
Yeah.
And they recently just took over the publishing rights to War Machine and Hordes. So they're kind of bringing War Machine back, and they do the Dark Souls board game and the Horizon board game and like a bunch of kind of licensed board games as well.
Make a bunch of Kilgun work on his end of year PowerPoint.
Oh, jeez.
So if they don't see the PowerPoint, though, it's just you at this desk.
That would be funny.
Just working away the whole 8 hours. And at the end, it'll just be the same PowerPoint presentation they would have got with like 2 slides. and the same millennial gifts.
Yep. That's all we should do. Millennial gifts. There's a question, are we going to just spam mages at some point because we have a lot more mages in the roster than other roles? I would say that some of the mages will probably end up filling other role spots in the rotation, right? So we have, just as an example, Freya is a mage, but is also a carry, right? Yep. So she'll probably fill a carry spot. Mama Brigitte is is a mage, but is really a jungler, so would fill a jungle spot. Ao Kuang is more of a jungler. Hubwa could arguably fill a jungler spot. You've got Kronos could fill a carry spot. You've got Zhang could fill a solo spot. There's a lot of the mage role because of the restrictions we put around classes in Smite 1. If you had ranged basic attacks and you were a magical damage dealer, you were a mage. Until we broke that with Charon and I guess technically Sylvanas were, guardians with ranged basic attacks. But basically, if you had ranged basic attacks and you were a magical damage dealer, you had to be a mage, was part of it. So there was just a lot of things ended up as mage that were really other roles. Umoja is another one.
Did Artio Yom count as solo or support?
Say that again?
Did Artio or Yorm count as solo or support?
So
I don't know that for sure, but I'm going to say...
We kind of technically did them backwards from what most people would consider, but Artio filled what would have been a solo spot in the rotation, and Yorm filled what would have been a support spot in the rotation. But again, those are gods that kind of just worked in both places.
In some regards, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of flexibility between a lot of gods. When will the Daji recolor be available for Twitch drops?
All being well, this weekend. That's all I'm going to say on it. I'll give an update for sure, but we should have it available for Saturday. I'm having a couple of technical difficulties with Twitch drops right now that I'm trying to resolve. And as long as they're resolved, it'll be available. And if not, I'll give you an update when.
Yep.
Okay. I apologize, but I'm just not going to lie to you all and go, yeah, definitely Saturday, just in case. I'm currently trying to test something right now as we're live on stream. So hopefully this weekend you should be able to get hold of your Daji Twitch drop.
Clumsy, I don't know what that is. Clumsy is in chat saying that apparently we are going to nerf Daji aspect with the hotfix. But I don't know exactly what the nerf is. So if he tells me what it is, then I will tell people about it.
You can message me as well, Clums, and we can say, or you can just drop it in chat and say what is getting nerfed. But according to everybody, before they even say it, it's about time, supposedly.
The ability to the 1,000 swipes of death will go from 100% of in-hand damage to 75% per hit.
Okay.
So the scaling
will the scaling comes down 25%.
There we go.
Okay.
Thanks, Clumsy.
Is that in live now, Clumsy, or is that going live later
today? Coming soon.
Okay. Just to confirm.
Are we still prioritizing goddesses? I would say we're not necessarily prioritizing goddesses. We went through a gap of not doing goddesses for a while, so we wanted to make sure that we did a run of goddesses for people that are goddess enjoyers. Going forward, we're just going to try and have a blend of things. There are fewer goddesses on the Smite 1 roster than there are gods, so it's not going to be every other god is a goddess. I know there are a lot of goddess enjoyers here in chat, but we will, try and have a mix-up so it's not a long string of gods.
Did you spoil anything today? Other than a dodgy nerf that just came in just now, no, I don't think we've really been doing much spoiling at all because we've not had much to spoil at the moment.
I don't even know how you would do this, but somebody's asking thoughts about making mics required for ranked. I don't know if you could actually require it.
I'd argue no, because honestly, VGS is providing enough information without you needing a microphone.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I also just I'm one of those people that I just hate talking to random people with my voice. I don't mind typing, but I just don't want to talk to people.
If I'm jumping on a mic, it's probably because stuff's going on in chat where I might stop.
Yeah,
is kind of where I'm at. But I don't always want to talk, and then some people don't want to. I'm not saying it's our personal takes on this. It's just, in general, it's not really a fair forced thing to do. How are you forcing someone? You've got a mic on? Cool, I'm not speaking still. You can't stop me.
Yeah, that's why
you can't force me to speak,
I'm literally on a talk show, but it's different. I'm not.
If I'm literally on it, right, here's the thing. This is my job. Playing a video game is not my job, technically. I mean, Q&A, sure. But like when I'm at home chilling, playing a video game, I don't want to be on comms the whole time. I want to listen to music. I don't want to be on comms and being straight with you. Even though I'm on a talk show, doesn't mean I want to talk all the time. That's crazy if you think that somebody who is on a show that just talks, wants to talk all the time. That's a crazy take, guys and gals.
Yeah, when I was younger, I definitely wanted to be on the headset and really, and now I'm just I don't know, I just want to zone out.
We're aged these days.
Yeah, maybe I'm just old. I can always bring back curse voice. I don't think curse exists anymore, do they?
I don't believe so.
Yeah.
Shout out to that curse voice Apollo skin. The orange t-shirt with a headset.
We should add, I wore my curse shirt over the weekend. Actually.
Did you?
Yeah.
I've still got one.
Yeah.
This sounds really bad, but it's in the trunk of my car. Boot for the European audience, sorry. But it's in the trunk of my car, and I use it as a rag for wiping screens and stuff, just in case.
Well, for a while, we got a bunch of those.
We did.
There were just a lot of extras.
Yeah.
They were very large, like 3XL, 4XL kind of thing.
Yeah, I always thought I'd grow into them, so I stored one or two just in case, you know.
Yeah.
But then I use them for rags in the back of the car just in case I need them.
Did you get the tree Hi-Rez gift at one point in time? The little plant.
Yes.
Is yours dead?
Probably. Yeah.
We were talking about this yesterday.
I'm guessing.
Most people's were dead. Mine is still alive.
Oh, okay.
It's not doing great.
Is it you doing it, or is it your wife that's been?
It's my wife.
Okay. My wife is not.
You remember?
Doesn't have a good job with those.
Thunderbrush used to work on Paladins.
Yeah.
He posted a picture of his. It's like this crazy big plant. He's kept his so well. Anyway. Yeah, a few people in chat say theirs is still alive. That's good.
Jimmy, rage bait is successful. Not really rage bait. You can't get me to rage out properly. Nice try, though.
Can we?
There's a pickup soccer game at 8 p.m. in Central Indiana. Can you show up, Kilgoon?
Let me just hop on a plane. I'll be right there. Probably not.
Metro Prime's out tomorrow, guys. You can't.
Yeah, I got to.
There's no way.
There's no way. My wife actually has a doctor's appointment tomorrow morning, so I have to watch the kids during that. Can we poll the next couple of gods from the community? For example, we pick 5 gods and let the community decide who's next. I would say the problem with this is just the amount of time it takes to do the thing.
Yeah. So the way I want to cut in because the way this could work, right? Sure, we could technically do that. However, what we're going to do in this case, and this is on a show, and I'm just going to make it clear this is not what we're doing, but this is the only way this could work, right? Is we go, okay, in August of next year, we are going to release one of these 5 gods. You pick which one. Now, what that tells you, first of all, is that these 5 gods are not getting released until at least August. So you already know those 5 are at the back of the shop. You'd vote on it, and we'd start production on it to get it ready for August. That's how that would work. And that doesn't seem right. You know what I mean? You can't really do that.
And then the community's mad at
that they know the 5 gods, 4 of those gods aren't getting picked, and we really wanted them in August, and now they have to wait past August. Can we get that god in September then? Or do we vote again in September for which of the 4 that were remaining? And then that's kind of the process you have to do for the whole voting thing. I like the idea in general, because I do agree that having a vote on, which god should come to the game. There is people that will have a view of every single character in the game. Of I don't want that character in the game. I do want that character in the game. And it's just too awkward to make that
happen. Do we take popularity polls done by people like Intersect into consideration for who we'll work on? I'll say we definitely look at all the community polls. We also look at our internal data of what gods were the most popular historically, what gods sold well historically, and also currently in SMITE 1, what gods are continue to be popular that have not yet been ported. Trying to kind of optimize to make the most people happy that we can. Right. Sometimes the more hardcore player polls will point to gods that were never very popular. But if there's enough community bandwidth for it, that could mean that we need to get to them sooner. Right. And yeah, development time also really does matter in terms of actually making the calendar, right?
Yeah.
Because we can't put
Next week.
Well, no, I meant more like if a specific god is really hard for a given department, right?
Sure.
Like if a god is really hard for rigging, then we aren't going to put 5 gods that are hard for rigging back to back to back to back, right? We have to kind of mix it with like, okay, they get one god that's hard for rigging, and then they get an easy god for rigging, and then but we have to manage that with, oh, well, what's a hard god for audio, and like every department you kind of are playing Jenga with.
Out of the 130 gods in Smite 1, Newt has to have been bottom 15 in popularity. So what was the mindset having her next?
She was not bottom 15 in popularity. And also, she released at the very end of Smite 1.
Yeah.
So I think that there's a level of like novelty for a lot of people in Smite 2. They really just didn't get the chance to play with her for very long. So I think there are some benefits there. I think also she brings a slightly unique like hunter carry kit that we don't have anything that works exactly that way in the game yet. So it has a little bit more diversity. Also, just again, talking about workflow, like the departments that would like she was hard for had capacity to make a god at this point in time in the schedule. So we always are trying to balance between like, hey, we want to do this other, we just did RTO. RTO is a god that has twice as many effects as a normal god, has twice as many animations as a normal god. It's a harder god for art. So then afterwards, you kind of need to slot in a god that is a little bit easier for art. Newt is a little bit easier because she has
later in development, so like she's more recent, I guess, in some regards.
Yeah, and the model didn't need a ton of work. The one bit of Newt that's hard artistically is getting her hair right, because that was some unique tech. But yeah, it's a combination of all of these things and more. Hair tech.
Hair tech?
I don't know what the question was. Just hair tech? Made me laugh.
Is it possible for you guys to make it so we're able to make changes like jump stamp border, etc. to your god while in God Selects? That is a long-term request that people have had, and it is a long-term thing on our planned docket. We don't have a timeline on it, though. That's all I'll say on that. We've definitely discussed it. We agree that it would be nicer to be able to have that feature and that ability for people, and it is something we're going to look into.
How do we feel about time to kill being so fast in endgame? I think that generally speaking, we feel like the pacing of games should increase as they progress. Characters get more lethal as the game goes on, and that's kind of the point of the game. I think we felt like with stacking potions, like stacking 3K pots, it was getting a little crazy there at the end game. You could just insta kill anybody with a single ability to some extent, but you kind of do want like time to kill to go down as the game progresses, because you're approaching an end. People need to die for the game to end. There's always a chance that you go too far. We've had this discussion before about like, are tanks tanky enough? I think that there's propaganda on both sides of that argument, so I'm not going to wade into it any further than that. But I mean, I think that like in general, yes, we want time to kill to go down as the game goes on. Is Manny okay? Yeah, he's a little quiet today. I don't think his headphones are on quite right, but maybe it's because I messed with his hat.
Yeah, I think he's fine. He's fine. He's chilling.
I'm going the wrong way.
He's the most constructive member, to be honest. So.
Yeah. The show would fall apart without him.
Completely agree. Any news on console chat? Nope.
No
news
yet.
on console chat at the moment.
We just we need to go through a longer certification period where we can't patch the game, and we have not wanted to take that hit. How did today's playtest go? It was a bit of a stomp today.
Yeah.
Not a good one.
It was okay.
We were testing a lot of new stuff. Sometimes in tests where there's a lot of
I can't talk too much because if I say stuff, then people are going to get an idea, but
yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah.
I got to playtest some new stuff, and it was interesting. But sometimes the playtests don't always go as planned. We did have three 3 new things on one team versus a team that just had a standard comp. And I think we sometimes make mistakes there, in my opinion, where we'll stack all 3 on one team and then the other team has an easier time or a better time. I'm using that as an excuse for why my team lost today.
Yeah, I think sometimes too, like people are less familiar with certain gods. They're playing them for a certain reason, you know.
But yeah, playtest went today. Let's just put it that way.
It was a playtest.
Because sometimes we have to delay playtests for different times of the day and stuff if things are taking longer to cook.
Who places the least wards in the internal playtest? I'm not going to call somebody out, but I will say that Pawn, I believe, placed more wards than he's ever placed today.
Yeah,
he placed a lot of wards.
Yeah. He was playing support Ganesh for those at home wanting to know why he placed so many wards. But yeah, wards.
Does it ever get difficult to deal with the community asking for more and more without understanding your limitations? I would say difficult is probably not the word. I think that that's kind of partially why we do this show, right? Is that everybody always is going to want more. I think that's part of being human, right? Like, is you always want, like, things could always be better, right? Even if things are great, right? This is why we have billionaires, right? Because it's like, oh, but what if I just made another few $1 million? You know, it's like, it kind of doesn't matter how great things are. You always, like, there's always part of you that's like, but what if, right? And I think that there are a lot of things that are that were in SMITE 1 that aren't in SMITE 2 yet, right? So they're obvious what ifs, right? And I think that also just the very, like, making a SMITE 2 opened the door for the community to a whole lot more what ifs, right? Because it's like, oh, it's this new game, we could do anything, you know? So I think that, like, we expect a lot of the people excited about new things or returning things and understand people wanting to get it done. And really, you know, we say it a lot of time, but it's really not that we don't want to do any of this stuff. And it's not that, you know, we're being lazy or anything like that. It's just like, hey, we have to prioritize. You can do one thing at a time. What are the things that we think will potentially have the most impact? So we try and prioritize those things and we see how things go. And sometimes we pick wrong, you know, sometimes we're like, this is going to be so cool. And we do this thing.
This is the big thing.
Nobody cares, you know?
And everyone's like, hey, it's great on release, but then it comes in and nobody really utilizes it or notices it as much. But it ticks it off the box of people asking about it in chat of like, why is it not in the game yet? Stuff like that. Have you reached out to have a community member on Titan Talk soon? Regarding what would that be?
Yeah, they were talking about having like.
I'm confused about that.
There was a request at one point to have like a guest, like whether it's like a streamer or somebody, and just to have like an
open forum.
With, you know, somebody. Which, I mean, somebody wanted it to turn into more of like a talk show with like different callers throughout the show. I feel like that's
tried that before.
It's a little risky, but you know, something we could do.
I've done a couple of those myself where I've been happy to do talk show stuff where people could call in and say stuff. There's a risk to it as well, but also having an open flow of, like, let's just say one of the streamers or something like that. In my mind, is it really going to be as clean as just having a conversation with the streamer behind the door or just asking the question in chat? Because I feel sometimes it will go down that path of clickbaity or conversation for the sake of conversation in some regards. So lots to it. When will the Dargies drop be available? Casserole, you answered that question earlier on in the stream. You didn't listen to what I said, but I said it was probably going to be on Saturday, all being well.
Excuse me. Can we make tanky support playstyle viable instead of building Lifebinder every game? So Lifebinder was nerfed yesterday. I don't have the full data to tell you for sure if you are making a mistake by continuing to build Lifebinder or if Lifebinder is still good. But yeah, I mean, I think that that's more of a commentary on Lifebinder is a very strong item, or was a very strong item, then tanky support just did not work. Because tanky support, I think, does work. I think it's just Lifebinder was really good, so you were better off doing that.
It's still really a valuable item and still useful. I don't necessarily know off the top of my head if it's necessarily first item every single game now, but I guess if you've got some sort of scaling in your build, it's going to be useful with the intelligence that's on there. And the sustain will help out, and the health. But there is other options as well. I just don't think it's as cookie cutter, but I do think it's still viable for sure.
Have we considered items that make towers, minions, and other things that are not gods deal less damage to the person building it? So we had an item in SMITE 1 called Emperor's Armor?
Yep.
Is that what it's called?
Emperor's one, yep.
Which made towers deal less damage or attack less frequently which
yours would do more, theirs would do less.
Yeah. So we've experimented with that idea in Smite in the past. We also have had like minion-specific damage items. I don't know if we've had minion-specific defense items because they don't really do that much damage to you outside of the early game. But yeah, we've definitely experimented with those ideas.
It is 2:00.
Oh, look at that. Time flies.
It felt longer today than usual, but for the most part, we did go through a few questions. I apologize we didn't have much to really go over today. It was more of a Q&A session. It's such a weird day after when everyone's like, okay, well, what's next? And we're like, we don't have much more to tell you. But we'll be back on Friday for an update. Hopefully, we'll have a little bit more data on how things have gone. You guys get to play around with CC without the CC buffering on for a while to see how you feel. Give us more feedback. Please send in any books, as always. But it is time for one more question. Nearly got sidetracked and didn't do it today.
Yeah, it's all right.
Make sure you have some good questions in chat, because otherwise we're just going to be cheap and like choose a really easy one.
Yeah.
Such as, will more of emotes from Smite 1 be in Smite 2? Maybe.
Alani check. No Alani's today. We both got hint.
We do have hint.
I have
blackberry
peach.
For me.
It's just like water with a whiff of
a
flavoring.
Twist of something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A hint, as it were. How
can we provide feedback on the CC buffering? I mean, for the most part on that, socials, we keep an eye on most social media that's going on. There's plenty of opportunities. This chat, the Reddit, there is YouTube, there is Twitter or X. Like, we do try and vary up and keep an eye on what's going on. And also feedback from ambassadors and stuff like that and streamers.
GT Church says, new holiday Alani is great, by the way. It is quite good. I really like the breezeberry that's in that same pack, which is like blue raspberry. That's my winner new Alani flavor. I need to pick a question here. I had one. Well, I would say, I had one and now I can't find it, and this always makes me sad.
While you're looking, can we get Titan Talk with Rocky soon? Yeah, I can reach out to Rocky and see if he'd be willing to come on. Maybe it might be a bit difficult this week just because everyone's just getting themselves back in office after the Thanksgiving week and catching back up. But I'll ask for sure.
I don't know. This isn't the best. I mean, it's a fine question, but I feel like I was looking for something else and I can't find it. But this is a fine question. Basically, the question is like, are any other game companies doing what you're doing with Titan Talk? And I would say, as far as I'm aware, nobody else is doing exactly what we're doing, right? And I think that it's different things work for different game studios, right? A lot of game studios will, kind of work very in private and then want to have a big, carefully manicured marketing release of here's the thing, right? Mm-hmm. And every word that is uttered by a official representative of the game in public needs to be carefully screened, and you have PR people and you have there's a lot of like layers to go through,
sure.
Right? Then on the other hand, like really indie development, you'll have people who are like super active in on a Discord or on Steam forums or something, and they're like actively developing a thing with the games. I think what we're doing is just kind of unique potentially because it's kind of in the middle, right? In that we are, we are trying to have a relationship with the players and get their feedback and take questions and talk about stuff in a way that isn't as like polished and,
definitely less polished.
Yeah, not as polished or highbrow as like a lot of like the more, fancy games.
Yeah.
But we're not like super indie, we want to be more faces out there talking to you guys. And we're not, so it's like, we're kind of just at a different
There's a weird middle ground.
We're in a different middle ground. So I know that there's some other games that do like live streams, but I don't know anybody that does this like kind of
sit down podcast,
take questions. You know, I think
it can like, I remember when you and Isaiah started this as well, Kilgoon. I thought it would take a lot to do 3 times a week consistently, and it does take quite a lot of time to like constantly put on these shows, answer the same questions on cooldown. But also we've come from, obviously there's been other games that we've been part of in terms of SMITE 1, but you also saw the level of production value we've had from the very start of SMITE 1 all the way through the progression. So we've gone through different levels of it.
We tried
this is kind of like SMITE 2 starting over alpha into beta with a live Q&A session, but we've not got polished patch note shows anymore. But we're also not doing a patch once a month. You know, things do change, and once every 2 weeks, things do change, and we do like to keep it nimble. But this is more of a chance for you to communicate with us openly, get frustrated with us openly too, and we'll try and answer what we can.
Come yell at us. That's why we're here.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. I definitely get frustrated because sometimes I just don't have the answers, and I feel bad for the people asking in chat where I'm like, yep, I guess we're going to do that, but it's a ways off. So, yeah. But it's 2:05 now. We've did a couple of one more questions. Thank you so much all for tuning in today. Apologies we don't have too much for you today, but it was generally a Q&A. Enjoy RTO and give us more feedback on CC buffering. Any final thoughts?
No, just enjoy the game. We'll see you on Friday. We look forward to seeing how you feel about RDO aspect on Friday. So come with your hot takes.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, it would have been on for a few hours probably on Friday. So Friday, RTO aspect. But if we don't see you before, we'll see you on the battlegrounds. Goodbye.